What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Griffin Green here. Now, here's the deal. I'm by myself today, right? Don't know where Brandon is. Don't know where Ruby is. Ruby's probably sick. And Brandon is training the future Wyandotte Bears. Who knows what to expect from these guys? But I'm not by myself today. Joining me today is Noah Miller. Redshirt sophomore catcher from the University of Michigan. We're here to talk ball. We're here to talk about Michigan baseball, both fall, how the fall went, the spring went. But before we dive into Noah's backstory, how the boys in blue are going to look this year, Noah, I got to share a little bit of a dilemma for you.
Oh, God.
So let me ask you this.
All right.
Late at night, you just get done eating dinner, right? You're craving something sweet. What's your go-to?
Chips Ahoy, the soft ones.
The soft, chewy ones?
The soft, chewy ones, yeah.
Dude,
100%.
those are elite. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I can't have them in the house anymore because I'll eat a full sleeve of them, like all of them. I'll just eat all of them. I'd get so fat. So
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it, dude. Dude, my vice lately, besides the whole Japanese cheesecake thing, which is kind of a scam that I've been seeing all over Instagram. But the bottom line is, what my go-to is, graham crackers, a little bit peanut butter.
at least it's healthy, yeah. You get the peanut butter, it gets protein.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like now if I eat a whole sleeve, then it becomes unhealthy. And then
that's true.
Changing the topic of the whole cold weather bats to Griff needs to eat some salads, right? So without really me going into a tangent and talking about all the different types of snacks that I have in my cupboard, let's talk about your backstory a little bit, my friend. So obviously you play in Michigan. I think everyone knows that. If you follow Noah on Instagram, by the way, this guy's got like tens of thousands of followers now. He's trying to become Instagram famous.
Maybe. We'll see.
No free shout outs is all I'm going to say.
That's true.
But anyway, talk us, let's go back in time a little bit. Talk about, kind of why you chose Michigan in the first place. I know previously from working with you in years past and, following your recruiting journey, you were committed to Cincinnati, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was.
So kind of dive into that, kind of what made the change or why you switched. And obviously, I'm assuming being a Michigan guy, right? Your dream is to, you either dream to play at Michigan or you dream to play at Michigan State, right? So kind of
just Michigan
a little bit.
Nah, just Michigan. No, I grew up bleeding maize and blue. Like, I think if you go on my social medias, my commitment post was a picture of me, like, in my little ICU unit when I was first born, and there's a Michigan teddy bear in there. So, I mean, ever since I grew up and knew that I wanted to play college baseball at the highest level, it was always Michigan. And I mean, that's kind of ironic because it wasn't always Michigan. Like you said, I was committed to Cincinnati, and I got to a point where it didn't seem like Michigan was realistic. Like, I'd had a couple phone calls with the previous coaching staff, and it was getting to be start of my junior year. And that's kind of at the time, like, when you want to start to make a decision because it makes the most sense. Like, in like scholarship terms, you're trying to get the money before it's gone. And just like, I knew I had enough tools to play at the highest level. And Cincinnati had, at that point, I had an offer for over a year, and they were really loyal to me. And I was like, I know the area. I played in Cincinnati for 3 straight summers. The coaching staff was really loyal. Everything they were telling me was, I mean, it was true. Like, everything they'd said, it was like, hey, we're not going to get another catcher. You're our guy. They didn't get a catcher a class above me, class below me. They're really banking on me. But I mean, ultimately, and I appreciate everything they did for me. I have nothing bad to say about them. But I mean, ultimately, I'd always wanted to go to Michigan. And I mean, even after I decommitted from Cincinnati, I was only fielding one call. So it was Michigan. And that's where I'd always wanted to go. It's just Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always been Michigan. So.
See, I'm a Notre Dame guy. All right, if I have to choose the school in Michigan, we're obviously I'm sending my kids to Michigan State. Right, I'm not even gonna sniff at Michigan, even though my mom went there. Fun fact. But without going into all that stuff, talk about kind of your journey throughout the first couple of years. Kind of getting your feet wet. In the rotation, redshirting a little bit. Kind of talk about that before we kind of jump into this year.
Yeah, I mean, the redshirt year wasn't really in the plans at all. Like, I leading up to my freshman season, like I'd been like a part of like what we were gonna try and do here. Like they'd always told me like, hey, like catchers wise, like you have a chance to be like a guy from day one, like the guy from day one. And obviously looking back at it now, I probably wasn't ready to catch 35, 40, 50, I don't know, however many games in the season, but I definitely had to learn a lot. And even last year with we had Matt Spear come in who had a ton of experience. I learned a lot from him. Just trying to learn and like going through those lumps and learning how to control what I can control and show up to the field every day ready to go and what value can I bring even if I'm not playing. Um, and then just kind of getting my confidence back and then kind of going through all that and learning the mental game and like how to be mindful and how to use the mental game and mental aspects as a strength instead of something that's always kind of nagging at me, which it wasn't necessarily a problem. But then you start overthinking and then you start having these negative thought loops and thought patterns, and everybody knows it. And then they start hitting bad, and then it all kind of spirals. And I put in a ton of work with that. And I feel like the mental game is kind of one of my bigger strengths now. I'd always been a kid who was really resilient and had faced a ton of adversity before and was a really hard worker and like never gave up, but just learning the mental game and having to go through all that stuff and not necessarily sitting, but like having to kind of work my way into the rotation and prove myself. It definitely, I'm glad I went through all those things.
So let me ask you this: where did you? So did they set you up for summer ball? I'm assuming, right? Kind of talk about those experiences for 2 years.
Well, my freshman summer, I didn't play summer ball. I was supposed to play for the Warrior Leprechauns, and I feel like that would have been really, really fun because I knew a bunch of guys. Like I think three guys on our team were going to play for the Leps, and then like I knew probably 15 to 20 kids on the team. And I think my roommate Alfredo played for the no, he played for the Pit Spitters actually. But I thought that was gonna be really fun because even like my mindset going into okay, if I'm only gonna catch however many games, um, I'm gonna get a ton of experience, I'm gonna get a ton of ABs. I want to play the full summer, all 72 games in the Northwoods, get 200, 250 at bats. Like I wanted to do that, but I mean, unfortunately, the second game of the year, my first start, I think it was February 15th at that point. Third inning, I was thrown down to second, and I had a complex tear in my right meniscus, and so I was out for 6 months, about 6 months. And I mean, I was ready to go for fall ball the following year, but I didn't even play summer. It was a pretty complex tear. So
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you play anywhere last year or no?
I played in the Cape last year. I
Okay,
played
talk
for
about
the
that because
for sure.
everyone talks about the mystique of the Cape, right? I was a
Yeah,
Northwoods guy. That's where I ended
for
up
sure.
playing. But
Hmm.
talk about that experience going out to Cape Cod this summer.
Yeah, the Cape was awesome, and I learned a ton. Like everybody's like, I want to go to the Cape. I want to play great, and obviously I did too. The Cape is kind of different because they get a bunch of dudes cycling in and cycling out. I was trying to stay there the whole summer. I ended up leaving a little early just because of like logistics, and we had some more guys coming in, some more guys leaving, and it was like, okay, I need to get back and get ready for fall ball, make sure I'm 100% healthy. And I wasn't necessarily hurt, but they just wanted to make sure I was ready to go. Um, that was probably the first time I ever got my teeth knocked in playing baseball. Um, and it was awesome 'cause every single guy on every single team was like, "Hey, this guy is a pro prospect. Like he is coming for your job and he is good and he is just as good if not better than you." And I had to kind of learn like daily habits and going back to that mental game again. Like I kind of had a little bit of a lull in it and got away from some of the things that had made me so successful in the second part of last year. So kind of just like revisiting those things and not necessarily brushing up on them, but like really living them, like creating habits, um, making sure I'm taking time before the game to be mindful of my mind, my body, my breath, all those things to get me in a good mindset to play the best baseball I possibly could. Um, one thing in the Cape I got to do is I got to call my own pitches, and I feel like if there was nothing else that I took from it, is I got really really good at calling pitches. So I mean that was one plus, and I got really good at seeing high level pitching. Like every guy that pitched was their team's dude, right? And if I don't know, probably over half the guys were SEC or ACC. Um, and either they were throwing turbo sinkers with humongous sweepers or they were riding. riding the ball 20, 25 inches of vert with a splitter, right? And I just kind of learning pitchers both as a hitter and as a catcher. It helped me learn the game more. And I feel like if I took nothing out of it, I learned the game more and I got to be a part of high level baseball. And I feel like it helped me out a ton going into the fall.
Yeah, I mean it's a perfect taste to professional baseball,
For
right?
sure.
And if you're blessed with that opportunity, which personally I'm assuming so, but obviously you never know, right?
Hmm.
But it kind of
Yeah,
gives you that taste and being like, okay, how can I'm pretty good at my school, or I'm pretty good in my conference. Now let's see how I stack up against the rest of the country, right? So like you mentioned, the fall. Talk about this past fall. Talk, and you don't have to really talk about what you've done personally, but kind of talk about the group of guys that you had, maybe some freshmen that were that you heard about that have made a great impact so far, so that you're excited to see come this spring. So kind of talk about the entire group as a whole this fall.
yeah, for sure. The one thing that it's pretty apparent that everybody's here and everybody's saying is our pitching staff is really, really deep. Um, we have almost, I think it's over 300 innings returning to our staff, which is a lot. Um, that's number one. Like we're gonna pitch the ball really well, but we have a lot of transfers that are going to be high impacts. We got guys coming back that are kind of coming into their own and starting to play some really, really good baseball. On the pitching staff, Tate Carey, he played with me in Chatham this summer. He's gonna be our probably our Friday guy. He was a freshman All American last year. He got a really, really good fastball and last year that's kind of all he had and he still had a ton of success and now he's added like 3+ breaking pitches, so I mean the sky's the limit for him. You got veterans coming back like David Lally Jr., who his ceiling is through the roof. Like I want to see some vintage David this year, which if vintage David comes out, I think the world is in for a surprise. Kurt Barr's been here 4 years. He's got consistent innings every year. He's Mr. Consistent. Every day he goes out, you know you're going to get a quality start from him. And then my roommate Gavin DeVoe, he's back to his old ways and he's pitching the ball really, really well. And I think he's going to be a big impact for us this year. I mean, on the hitting side, Colby Turner hit a lot last year. He got a bunch of starts. He played a lot. Hit for a bunch of extra base hits. And he basically played all around the diamond. He played the corners. He played second. He played third. He could play. I think he could play center. He might be a little bit too big to play center, but he's definitely a really, really good athlete. And then we have transfers like Drew Culbertson, who's going to make a big impact to short, and then Matt Ossenfort's going to hit the hell out of the ball, and he's really, really he's a really vocal leader on our team. And then with me, Ellie Kligman, he's a fifth-year catcher, but he's a dude who brings a ton of experience. He's a great guy to be around, and he's uber talented behind the plate, and he's a really, really good hitter too. So we have a really good mix of young guys that are going to come in and make an impact and kind of be led by the older guys that have kind of been there and done that, and some guys who are looking to come into their own, like myself. I'm looking to have a good year this year, and a bunch of other guys that I've seen kind of grow with me that are going to have good years too.
No, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. So, kind of going into this, this early part of spring, right? Perks of playing, in Michigan or the colder weather states help.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, cold weather bats. Come on now,
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
But talk about your guys' travel schedule. This coming up next few weeks, couple months, right? Talk about that a little bit. Some of the maybe the trip that you're most excited for, stuff like that. Kind of dive into the early part of spring, and then we'll kind of talk about conference play.
Yeah, I honestly, one of my favorite aspects of college baseball is just to travel. At the University of Michigan, we get to travel really well. So we're starting off in Arizona, in Surprise, Arizona. I think it's Rangers facility, maybe, or the Royals, one of those two. And then so we play Arizona, or we play Oregon State the first game, and then that's on a Friday, and then Stanford, and then Arizona, and then we on a Monday we play Oregon State again. So right off the bat, there's 3 out of our first 4 games were College World Series teams last year. And then the next weekend we go to Globe Life, which is honestly my personal favorite. I love that stadium. Like I wish I could play every single baseball game the rest of my life in Globe Life.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely beautiful. Um, but no, Globe Life is awesome. We play Florida State on a Friday, and I think it's Louisville on Saturday, and then Kansas State on Sunday. So our first 7 games, I think we play 4 teams that were in the College World Series last year. And then, I mean, that's on purpose. We want to kind of get us battle tested for one, to get us playing our best baseball, at the beginning of the year, and 2 for RPI reasons, and that was strategically done by our coaching staff and things like that. We've kind of been just right out of the mix the last couple of years, like kind of that fringy bubble team that where if we get a couple more wins or a couple more things go our way, we go in. And this year we kind of want to control our own destiny, and we think we can do it with the talent that we have on our team too.
So let me ask you this. So when I played, it was, you traveled, like we played at Campbell the first weekend, my freshman year, played a 3-game series, flew out to Sacramento, played Sacramento State for a 4-game series, and then back down to Georgia for another 3-game series. Do you like and I think you're the first guy we've ever had on who's a part of that whole, hey, you're playing Stanford Saturday, you're playing Oregon, Kansas State or Arizona on Sunday. You're playing all these different teams, different days. Do you like that more, or do you like your traditional, hey, we're going to be at Nebraska for Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
I think I can appreciate both parts of it because I feel like the more of the series are like, all right, we're in Big Ten play now. The season's kind of rolling. It's kind of like settle down, but I love the travel part of it. Like last year we went to Puerto Rico and we did the same thing. We had 4 games and 4 different teams. And I don't know, I think it just kind of gets the juices flowing. You're just not playing the same faces for 3-4 days in a row. It's a new team, new players every day. So yeah, I don't mind it. It doesn't really matter who's on the other.
Yeah, it's like that summer ball vibe, right? That we all kind of grew up playing, right? You're playing a different team every single day.
Yeah, so it's really nothing new.
So kind of dive into, we'll kind of dive into, conference play a little bit. So what are the things that you're most excited for kind of in the Big Ten, whether it's somewhere where you're going, this coming April or May or, stuff like that?
Well, it's pretty easy choice. Like we started UCLA first weekend.
Welcome to
it. So yeah, that's the #1 team with the #1 player. And a bunch of other guys around him who are really, really good. So, no, it'll definitely be a test. Like we went there last year and we got our teeth knocked in like in a midweek, like by a lot. And then we played them in the Big Ten tournament and we like held our own. And I think they had a 8th inning hit, 2 RBI hit, and they beat us 7-5 or something like that. But like we definitely like over the year, you can tell like we went into that game like confident. Like we don't care who's on their team. We don't care. Like we just don't like if we play Michigan baseball, we can compete with anybody. And I really think we have that mindset right now going into that series. Like if we go in and we pitch the baseball like we know how to, and we have good team at bats and throw strikes and pick the ball up, like when we play Michigan baseball, we can compete with anybody and be in the conversation come June for a national championship. That's our goal. So,
well, listen, Noah. Hey, I love all your answers. I'm excited to watch you guys this year. I appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks for taking the quick 10, 15-minute time with us, and look forward to watching you this spring, man.
For sure. Thanks for having me.